has been badly affected by the KwaZulu-Natal floods. What does this mean for producers and, importantly, us consumers?
Absolutely, Bradan. So the sugar industry says it's been hit very hard by those floods and is calling for urgent government help. The sector says that it suffered hundreds of millions of rands in crop and infrastructure damage, and it's feared many cane growers may not survive to see the next season. Let's get some more insight on this. We've got Dr. Thomas Funke from the SA Cane Growers joining us this afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. Maybe let's get a sense of how much exactly from the survey that you've just concluded and released was lost, and really just the implications for the crop this season.
Yeah, thank you. We've done an extensive survey. We started on Wednesday in order to get an idea of what the damage is, and did a cut-off yesterday just to try and put a peg in the sand. The reality is on the ground is that growers can't actually get to all of their fields, and they can't get out of their farms. And on top of that, they might not have a connection, so they might not have internet to even communicate. But anyway, be that as it may, our survey shows that 2,500 hectares have been affected by this flood and by the rains. The field damage is tremendous, 195 million rands in damage. This includes the standing crop that was ready to be harvested, as well as the roots of that crop that are now washed away. We're not quite sure yet how they can be rehabilitated. The other issue is infrastructure on farm. That's also, has been damaged, farm bridges, farm roads, etc.
Now, there's a huge concern here, Thomas, about small-scale farmers or producers in the sector, and many of them perhaps are not surviving this. And, of course, this is going to have some dire consequences when it comes to communities that are supported by these farmers, as well as jobs that are created.
Absolutely. That's one of our major concerns, is the small-scale growers that were affected in the rural KZN areas. The big issue is that roads leading out of those areas have been washed away in many instances, as have bridges. So that means even if their farms weren't affected, they'll really struggle to get their crop off onto a lorry, a tractor, and take that to the mill for processing in order to get paid. So our plea to government is really, the one part is the on-farm destruction that has been caused. But the other part is really those access roads into the rural areas of KZN. We have to prioritize those and try and get them back up into a condition that the crop can be delivered.
No, absolutely. I mean, could this have, on a broad level, Thomas, could this have an impact on the availability of the refined product in the country?
At this stage, we don't see that. The reason is that we currently, the industry is still selling last season sugar. So there should be a lot of stock around that we don't run into a shortage. And then I've been in contact with our colleagues in the milling sector, and they assured me that many of the mills are starting up soonish, so within the next few days, and will start processing, the cane that can get to the mill. So I'm quite confident that we won't run out of sugar. I think there is enough sugar around. And then obviously a lot of the areas haven't been affected, like the Midlands, they didn't have that much rain. And then obviously Mpumalanga, we've got mills up there in the industry that will be crushing at full capacity in the next few days. So we should be okay from a shortage perspective.
No, that's very encouraging to hear. But Thomas, there are many challenges within your industry. Very broadly, we're talking about the health levy. We had the violent unrest that a lot of producers are still trying to recover from. And then you've also just got issues around the industry taking in cheap imports. Yes, cheap imports. So the government intervention that's going to need to come in here is going to be very, very important. It's not just about restoring infrastructure, but it's about making sure that the industry can still compete within the market.
That's correct. Yeah, you're 100% correct. It's all part of the master plan discussions at this stage. But as you rightfully point out, the last thing we needed was a flood at this point to wipe out the infrastructure that is so fragile and keeping our industry alive. So, yeah, it is devastating. Many growers are heartbroken about the situation. So we're doing our best to work with government to try and get that resolved. We actually heard that one of the ministers will be visiting our area tomorrow, so we're very encouraged by that. And we've also had Minister Patel write to us, offer assistance where he can. So, yeah, we're extremely grateful for government's intervention at this stage. So let's hope that we can work towards a solution in this regard.
No, absolutely. I'm sure we will. Dr. Thomas Funke, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. He's the Chief Executive Officer at the SA Cane Growers, just really explaining to us the dire situation that a lot of the growers are going through, given what we've seen over the last 2 weeks with the flooding in different parts of KZN, but assuring us that if you've got a sweet tooth, it doesn't have to go away just yet. We will still have lots of sugar within the country. We do have our reserves. With that, here's a look at your weather.